1 second. Which one is the one that? Which one is the one? I should look at that. Which one is the one that is? Okay.
So we're looking at this one.
Hi guys, this is Tim Arnold from Ignite Squash, and here we have today with us former world number 1, Mohamed El-Shorbagy. Thanks for being here with us today, man.
Thanks, Tim, a lot for having me here. We've been having an amazing time so far since my stay in Singapore. Thanks a lot for taking care of me, and we've had an amazing time, and it was very good to see the kids, the camp, the last couple of days, you know, and I look forward to answer some of our questions, some of your questions today.
I'm excited to let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, first question. When did you first pick up squash racket?
I was actually in Alexandria, back in my local club in Egypt. I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
8 years old. My parents wanted me to try different sports. So I did swimming from when I was 5 till I was 10 for 5 years, which I think is quite important for kids. You know, swimming is very important for kids. It builds a lot of foundation for the body. And then my uncle was an amateur, played for fun, and still playing for fun, and took me to the squash court one day, and here I am, been chasing that small black squash ball for the past 25 years of my life.
Our next one is, you sacrificed so much. What was the source of your motivation?
I think I just wanted to be always better. Even when I always had good results, winning a big target, achieving a big target, I was always not satisfied. I always wanted to do better, wanted to be better. How can I adapt? How can I get better? And I think that's, I was always motivated to try and stay at the top for a very long time, to be consistent. Yeah, I never tried to keep my motivation targeting on one event, but it's easy to lose that motivation after a particular event. So I try to always have the motivation depending on consistency. And I try to do that for all my career.
Do you like your nickname, The Beast? And how did that come about?
I think Joey, obviously, he knew me because obviously I went to midfield school, and when I was training under his father there, he obviously seen me grow.
Yeah.
So he knew the way I trained, he knew the way I played in tournaments, how I reacted to things. So he started giving nicknames to players, and I think he's done an amazing job to give nicknames not just to myself, but all the players. I think it suits everyone, and I think the players are happy with their nicknames. But I know I'm definitely happy with mine. I feel it suits who I am and how I play the game, and
All right, awesome. You won everything in the game. What's next for you?
Yeah, I think you know, it's very easy to look motivation after you win everything. But as I said, I kept my motivation on consistency.
Yeah.
And it always feel like even when you win everything, you still want to win more.
Yeah.
So for me, when I have Hong Kong next week, I want to win it for a 5th time.
Yeah.
So right now, my motivation is to win Hong Kong for a 5th time, and then I go to TUC, Tournament of Champion, the week after, like the month after, I want to win it for a 4th time. So that's my motivation. I want to keep adding numbers. I want to keep adding events to my CV, and it's not a bad motivation to have to try and keep winning all the big titles if I can.
Besides yourself, who do you think the GOAT is?
I honestly don't believe in GOATs conversations.
Yeah.
I hate comparing eras. If you put my era to an era that was 20, 30 years ago, we will beat them. Feel up very easy, but the pace is so much faster.
Yeah.
If you put my eras against the era in 20 years time, that will kill us 3-love very easy, because the pace will be so different, because we as humans get better. I always like to say, okay, who was the best player of that era?
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I see the game. You know, every era is very different. Every era, I played in almost 3-4 different generations, and every generation the game was played so differently. You know, and I can compare characters, and who was a tougher character than another.
Yeah.
But I can't compare the way they played the game, because the game was played differently. You know, and it's not fair. You know, so I can always talk in terms of characters. The guys I played against, I would say. Nick Matthew, the Gautier, Rami, Shabana, Ali, you know, I don't want to miss James. All these guys, you know, they were so unique. You know, you can't really compare these guys to other players I played against. The others I played against are amazing squash players, but the character of these guys were always unique. Obviously, there are current players that are still young. They're still building themselves. They're playing currently at the top of the game, but they still have so many years in them to build that kind of legacy.
Yeah.
But I'm talking in terms of the players in my age right now, in their 30s. Definitely, it just that's what I believe. These are the eras I played against, and what I felt when I played against them on court. You know, the guys I mentioned, their names were definitely different.
Yeah. Who do you think the next rising star is coming through the rankings at the moment?
I wouldn't call Asad the rising star anymore because he's already been number one last year. I definitely know what he can achieve. He hasn't achieved it yet, so we cannot still put him in the name with that group yet. Can he do it? 100%.
Yeah.
But he's still young. He's still building himself. You got Diego right now as well. You know, he's got world number one last year too.
Yeah.
He's just turned 27.
Yeah.
He's fighting for all the big titles. So I think these two right now, you know, in terms of the generation that's coming up into my generation, these two are separating themselves from the others a little bit right now. And even when they play each other, you can see the rivalry and the intensity between them, which is very good for the game, I think.
Yeah.
I love watching these two play against each other.
Yeah.
You know? I think they have amazing matches. I think they match up well. They remind me a little bit when Power and Palmer played each other. A little bit, you know. Yeah, it gets people talking definitely when they play, right?
Yeah.
So anything that gets people talking is good for the sport, and I'm in for that.
Who is your greatest rivalry in your time?
My greatest rival, of course, I had different rivals against different players. Greg, Nick, Rami. I didn't play Rami as much, but the matches we played against each other count for 10 matches. Each one of them count for 10 matches, I would say. You know what I mean? Ali, right now, we're set at 14 all in our rivalry.
Wow.
Where we played 28 times, we split it, you know.
My God.
So, obviously, right now, Ali, I would say Ali.
Yeah.
If you asked me that question 5 years ago, it would have been Nick and Greg.
Yeah.
You know, so honestly, it depends. All of them gave me something different. I've learned from each one of them something different. Each one of them inspired me to be better.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful to have all of them that I had in my career because they pushed me.
You up to where you are.
They pushed me, they motivated me.
Yeah.
And so I can't put particularly one was harder than the other more than I would say all of them were just very hard in very unique ways.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the greatest challenge you've overcome in your whole lifetime? Non-sports related or sports related, you know? Or your greatest achievement? Or the biggest challenge you've overcome?
I think the challenges, like of course there will be challenges of course that are more personal, that's going to be hard to talk about a little bit, which any human being go through, you know, because I always believe at least we're human beings for being athletes and we all have personal problems in our life that we got to deal with before we go on court.
Yeah.
And once we go on court, we have to switch off and switch on to what we need to do on court. So these are the toughest personal challenges we can go through, and you can imagine all different problems that we all go through personally, you know, just this very almost similar problem to a lot of people go through really.
Yeah.
In terms of squash challenges, I would say the most difficult challenges has always been adapting to different generations.
Yeah.
I remember I grew up trying to be the generation of Nick and Greg, Rami, Shabana, all these guys, and once I did that, another generation came up of the generation of my brother, Gawad, Ali.
Yeah.
And it was a very difficult challenge because they played differently, and I had to overcome that. And I lost to them at the beginning in their first season, and it was a hard one for me mentally to deal with.
Yeah.
But then I came back the year after. I think I went to train with Palmer, and we did a lot of changes. We worked on my mental side a little bit more, and we did a good job to get me back to world number one, win the world championship, the British, everything. Really, we did a lot together, me and Palmer. But it was a very, very difficult task when I went to him. I was not in a very good place. That was a difficult challenge, definitely one of the toughest challenges. But that was, again, it was a challenge that come back to the definition to try and adapt to different generations. You know, so I'm always proud that I was adapting different generations. I'm always proud that I was able to do that in my career, to set that up for a very long time. Yeah. And I still try and continue to do so.
Yeah, that's my next question. I mean, you've achieved success early as compared to many other athletes who chase the number one position towards the tail end of their career. So you've had that one position when you were 22. You know, what's your next? What do you do with that? You know, where do you go from there? Like, you got this number one position now. What's next? Like, how do you keep that motivation still?
Well, I've always believed on getting emotions out of the way when you want to play at the top for a very long time. I always told myself I don't have the luxury to celebrate my wins too much if I win an event.
Yeah.
I don't have the luxury to be disappointed for a long time if I lose a big final, because you gotta always master the art of letting go. Yeah. You gotta always let go of the tournament you just finished and then focus on the next week, because there is always another event coming next week. And if you win at a big event and get too excited, then you're gonna fall in the next event. if you did get disappointed too much after you lose a big final, it can affect you mentally the week after. You don't want that to happen, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's one of the things for consistency for me was always to try and be as emotionless as possible. Try and always just be cold a little bit. Obviously, there were times where I lose control. I'm a human being, but I think I did that for most of my career so far, and I try to do that even whether I'm going through a tough period or a good period.
Wow. When it's all said and done, what's the legacy you want to leave behind? What do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be always a player that be known that once I go on court against someone, I'm not gonna enjoy playing this match. This guy is tough to beat. This guy is gonna be a warrior on court. I want to be known for being someone who was a warrior on court, someone who made this court look like a war. It was a battle between two soldiers, and then the winner was just the best player on the day. And I wanted to be always known for that. I think that's why the Beast nickname, how it came from Joey. I think that I was always known from that in my career. That's something that I take pride on, to try and always be tough to beat. To be known that in the most difficult situation when I'm going through a hard period, to be known that I could come back at any time. To be known that I always try and find solutions to be able to come back again. That's something I've always wanted to leave behind, definitely.
All right, quick fire round questions. Wall court or glass court?
Well, that's an easy one. That's how an easy one. Glass court.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Okay. Roger Federer or Rafa Nadal?
Novak Djokovic.
Awesome. Car or bike?
I'm lazy. Car.
Dog or cat?
Cats.
Cats.
Yeah.
Physical or mental strength?
Mental, for sure.
Yeah.
Anytime, any day.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
You're talking about yourself or?
Yeah. Okay.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate. But if I see chocolate in front of me and I don't need to eat it, I'm not gonna go die. But I'll choose chocolate. Yeah.
Okay. Respected or feared on court?
Respected or feared on court? Feared on court.
Favorite movie?
Anything for Denzel Washington.
Oh, I love that guy.
Anything for Denzel Washington.
Favorite sport other than squash?
NBA.
NBA?
Love watching NBA.
Right.
Love it.
What's your favorite player? Favorite team?
I love any athletes that did it for a very long time. So right now is LeBron James.
Right.
Before him, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. I respect athletes that have done it for a very long time through different generations, because I understand and I can relate to the challenges, the physical and the mental challenges you as an athlete go through.
As for the juniors out there who are wondering, they're young and keen, they're coming up, they're hungry to put in the work. Where would you advise them to put most of their work in? On court, off court?
Well, I think the first, when I talk to any junior that's asking me for advice, the first question I was asking, what do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? You want to be the best? You want to be the one number one? Do you want to be one of the players that winning all these platinum events? If they tell me yes, I tell him, then you gotta, I actually, when I ask him this question, I tell him, I'm not asking you this question to answer me that question right now.
Yeah.
I want you to ask this question to yourself when you have a time to yourself, and be honest with yourself. And if your answer is yes, then it's gonna require hard work, sacrifice, and then you're gonna have to do whatever your parents are gonna ask you to do. In terms of pushing, when they push you, there's gonna be hard times when the parents push.
Yeah.
There's gonna be hard times when your coaches push. But you gotta listen, because they know what's best for you. That's what I did when I was young. I wanted to be the best, and I knew it was gonna be hard work, because I was put under hard work. So if that's what they want to do, they're gonna sacrifice everything towards squash. They're gonna be thinking about squash most of their day. They're gonna be sleeping squash. They're gonna be eating squash. They gotta live for the sport, and that's what these characters that won a lot in the sports did in different.
A little bit obsessed.
You gotta be obsessed. As you said, you gotta be obsessed. But if you're gonna be honest with yourself, say that I'm not ready to do the hard work. There is nothing also wrong with that. I've seen a lot of squash players, for example, that played at an okay level in junior because they wanted to get scholarship to go to the States and get really good degrees in Harvard and Princeton, all these big colleges. And you can go there and play number 6 or 7 in the team. and that's for me is also success. From the sport, you get an amazing degree, you know. So it's gonna be hard work. But
I didn't do that.
yeah, but it's gonna be hard work, but it doesn't have to be on court. It's gonna be hard work in your life, in your studying, and you got something different out of the sport, you know. So you gotta be honest with yourself. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to play at the top level and do this.
Yeah. It's not easy.
It's not easy, of course. There are very, very, very few players that were able to do both, like Ali, like Amanda, you know. Very, very unique characters that can do both, but that's not the normal.
Yeah.
As well, you know, we don't want to pull ourselves and say this is the normal.
Yeah.
Not everyone, his name is Ali. Not everyone, his name is Amanda, you know. They made it look, it's possible, and it is possible, but the work that they did, the sacrifices they did, there is so much behind the scene they did to be able to do both.
Yeah.
And I'm a believer of doing both. You know, I'm actually a believer of doing both, you know. But if you just want to have a good degree through squash and not work that much like what these guys did, this also, I'm saying this is also a success, not a failure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Thank you for being here with us on this trip. Like words can't express how much I thank you and how grateful we are to have you here. Not only all the kids benefited from this camp, you know, myself, I've learned a lot, and I'll try to apply all these things into my daily life. So thank you for gracing us with your presence, man.
No, thanks a lot for having me here, and I'm a big supporter for Ignite Squash, you know, from last year, you know, when I came here and we met last year for the first time, you know, I told you the amount of work you put here is unbelievable, and I can see when I helped a little bit the camp this year, I can see the progress of the kids, you know. It's so good to see so many kids who have great potential. They're in safe hands, I'm sure, and you know, and it's nice to be working together. You know, I'm really happy that
We'll have to have you back again, man.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Everybody.